Hello and welcome to the Kayden Gordon Show, today's best country mix. And joining me right here today is Dave Rosewood. Dave, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. I just got in from a concert and I still even have my cowboy boots on. So
How did the concert go?
it was great. We played in a church, so
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't do all my own music. So we did some of my music and did a bunch of gospel music too, which is, gospel is just part of
Hmm.
what I consider my roots. So it really went well. I had a lot of people there. Really nice.
Well, that's really, really good. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about you and how you got started in music?
Sure, man. Um, I grew up in the Ozarks, so I come from Missouri,
Hmm.
the southern part down, Ozarks, where it's around Kansas and Arkansas and Oklahoma on there.
Yep.
And I think really my first anything memories of music was definitely singing in church. So that's why gospel is such a big, kind of part of still music that I do. I don't necessarily write gospel, but I consider it part of my roots. But then, when I was like maybe, God, I couldn't have been maybe 6 or 7 or something. Back in the day, we used to have these like plastic things, that you put on this kind of board thing and it would play. But I was over at my grandpa and grandma's house one Sunday afternoon. My grandpa was like, "Hey, why don't you listen to this?" And he put on this album, and this guy started singing. I was like, "Wow, it's really good." And it was "I'm So Lonesome I'd Cry" by Hank Williams. So it's really the first artist that I remember, like, oh, I know who that guy is. And then, of course, I went, as I grew up, listened to I really have a lot of different influences, but, of course, country is kind of at the heart of what I do. But I still have a lot of influence, bluegrass, rock, gospel. It's hard not to, so much great music out there. And uh, I mean, as soon as I didn't start playing guitar until I was about 18 or so, but I just started writing right away. And would go out and play some pubs and just little dives and stuff. And so I didn't really have my act together as like a real artist. And then finally, back in 2018, I was like, you know what? I had a band together. We'd played on a little like festival thing with a band, played mostly my own original material. I was like, you know what? I got this band together. One of my buddies has some recording equipment. Maybe I should get my act together and get this going. So back in 2018, we recorded my debut album, Gravel and Gold, and released some singles and
Hmm.
released that album that year. So that was really kind of how I got started, man. It was, and actually when I recorded the album, it wasn't planned to, I was like, well, let's just document this. I was like, you know what, this is going to be pretty good. And then we're like, let's put it out, see what happens.
That's awesome. And is that one of your newest singles that just came out?
No, the newest single I just put out, which I actually played tonight, too, is called Grandpa's Pond.
Okay,
And
okay. It was Grandpa's Pond.
the
I was confused by the two for a second. I'm like, I knew there was a Grandpa's Pond, but the other one,
Yeah,
I
sorry
yeah.
about that.
No worries,
Yeah,
all good.
the song I just put out, my single I just released the 31st of July. I grew up next to my grandma and grandpa's farm,
Hmm.
and they had some ponds on there, with different like perch and catfish and stuff. And so part of my summers growing up was it was fishing with my grandpa. It was really important to me, just spending time with him. And he didn't actually would talk a lot, but it felt like, those old generation, they kind of save up what they were going to say, and they make sure it's important if they're going to say something. But and then he's been gone for a while now, but this summer just something hit me, man, and I started thinking about him, kind of missing him. And this song just came to me, Grandpa's Pond. I was like, I think it's a song I'd really also like that I want to share with people. I think, I hope people can listen to it and feel, maybe even if they didn't fish with their grandpa, maybe they can still feel like, yeah, I miss him. And I was glad the time that I got to share with him.
Definitely, definitely. Now, Dave, if you had the opportunity to do a duet or a collaboration with any singer in the world, who would you choose and why?
Wow. Oh, just one. You know what? I think I think I would probably want to work a bit with Tyler Childers. I really like what he's doing, man. He's got that real bluegrass type of
Hmm.
thing going, but also country, and he kind of does what he wants. People are angry at him because he ain't out touring now. And he's like, you know what? I want to be home with my family and I want to go play these
Yeah,
bluegrass festivals. So I'd like to get together with Tyler Childers and do something. That'd be a lot of fun.
definitely. Definitely. He is definitely really, really good for sure.
Can I say one more? Is that okay?
Yeah, go right ahead.
God, I wish I could do a duet with Grandpa's Pond with Dolly Parton. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that would have been a
That
good
would
one.
be I've almost thought about sending it. I don't even know if you can get contact with her, but it's kind of it feels like this one of this code of many colors things. I was like, that feels like that's that song for me. Like that's my childhood and that's how so anyways.
I mean, hey, you never know, Dolly, if you're listening. Dave
Yeah.
Rosewood's right here.
Dolly's a good one. I really
Yes.
she's a real big influence on me for sure.
What advice would you give someone that might want to start singing or performing or anything like that, but doesn't really know how to get their foot in the door?
I think that you just need to start, for me to sit here and tell somebody, oh, I know everything I'm doing, that would be a lie. I don't, you just got to work and do what you love and keep working at it and keep getting better at what you're doing and don't give up. Like just keep going. And I think if you work hard and you're prepared and look for opportunities, I think they'll come up for you.
Hmm. So, where do you see you and your music in the next couple of years? Where do you want to be, Dave?
Yeah, right now I'm not doing music full time. I
Okay.
back in 2018, after I released my album, I actually quit my job to start working on music full time. And I was growing my income. I was touring, stuff like that from
Hmm.
music. And then, of course, we had this thing happen for 2 years that
Right.
that shall remain nameless,
Yeah.
and that put a real hold on it. So I never quit doing music, but I kept, you couldn't go out and tour and play and stuff.
Right.
So I'm hoping right now I'm getting more gigs, I'm releasing more music. So I'm hoping within the next couple of years I can transition back to hopefully maybe be at the point of doing music full time again.
Hmm. Hmm. Totally, totally. Now, do you have a message to those who might be watching or listening to this or any of your fans, Dave?
Yeah, I really appreciate when I sit down to write a song, I really most of my songs I either write about something that happens to me or to stories that I hear when I talk to people or even maybe in the news. So I hope that people can listen to my music and feel like I'm writing about them, because I feel like I want to write about people and their experiences
Hmm.
and I hope that when they listen to my music, they can feel like, I guess I released a song called Underemployed, which is a term I saw coming up, in the news the last couple of years about people have to work a bunch of jobs to make a living.
Hmm.
And when I wrote this song, I thought, I hope people can hear this song and feel like, hey man, I'm not alone. Like I know it's a struggle, but there's people out there that's going through the same thing. So that's what I want people. I want them to feel like they can listen to my music and feel like, man, I think he wrote it about me.
Right. That's the feeling anybody wants in their music, especially if they're country. That's the real good and like raw country that I personally love.
Yeah, me too, man.
Again, there's nothing really against the country pop. I mean, it's pretty good, but I like songs that tell a story, basically.
I got stuff that I like listening to, so
Hmm.
I don't comment. I usually, my mom always said if you can't say something nice, don't say it. So I
Right.
comment on the things that I like.
Hmm. Totally,
But
I agree
definitely.
with that. Because you don't want to get yourself in like a bind or anything or have opinions come at you. It's just better if you keep your opinions inside. That's what I've learned too,
I
honestly.
think
So,
I think too, man, Kayden, there's so much negativity in the
there
world.
is.
And
Mhm.
I don't need to add to that. Like I want to
No.
build people up. There's no point in me saying something negative. It don't do no good. I'd rather build people up with what I'm doing. So that's what I try and do.
Hmm. I agree with that. Now, Dave, where can people find you on social media if they want to keep up with what you're doing?
Yeah, of course, like I'm on Facebook and stuff and a bit on Twitter. Actually, the thing is, I've just started off on doing stuff on TikTok. And I thought, I had no idea, like, what's this TikTok? I didn't even know. But somebody said, man, you should try and get on there. And actually, it's actually been a real, like a motivation for me because I was like, oh, well, I can do these little short things,
Hmm.
and I've really been dedicating myself to putting out more. I hate the word content because it's like, oh, I'm just in a
Right.
factory pumping out, but I don't feel like that. So actually, I'm not just doing music. I'm putting out some like country comedy, so and stuff
Hmm.
like that, which is like kind of characters that I grew up with and my family and stuff, just ideas. So TikTok and Facebook are the two main ones I kind of focus on right now, and YouTube. I put my stuff on there too. So
Fantastic. Now, Dave, is there anything that I forgot to mention that you would like to mention?
I don't know, man. I don't think so. It's been a very good interview. You were ready to go. It was good. You're so prepared. I
Thank
appreciate that.
you. Yeah, my pleasure. And again, I would like to thank Dave Rosewood for taking the time to come on the Kayden Gordon Show today's Best Country Mix. Dave, we really appreciate your time.
Appreciate you too, man.